So this tutorial basically demonstrates how a local electrode will be utilized along the metal and the changes that will occur over a course of cycle time. So select our model result, and under our space dimension, we're going to use a 3D space. So we select 3D, and subsequently we have to choose our physics, and we'll be using electrochemistry. We'll move to electrochemistry, where we're going to choose our battery interfaces. We'll move to choose a lithium-ion battery. Then we add. So after adding our physics, we go to our steady and we select our preset steadies for selected physics interface. So we have the AC impedance with initial values. You have AC impedance stationary. We have that with the time dependent, cyclic, voltammetry, and we have the time dependent with initialization. We're going to use the time dependent with initialization. Click done. And that brings us to our model interface. We move to load our parameters from file. So we're going to import our parameters from file. Load. That brings us to here, where we choose a pouch cell utilization. Which actually loads all our parameters, as you can see in here. So the next step is to set up our geometry. And I'm going to show you the steps that we're going to use to set up our geometry. So go to geometry size. And we go to work plane. So we have our work plane in here. And we're going to add a rectangle. And we're going to define the size and the shape. That's the width and the height of the rectangle. So for our rectangle, in the width section, we're going to type since we have our parameters over there, once we input this, which has already been defined in our parameters, it will give us a value of the width. So let's start with the height. So after doing this, what we can do next is to just build selected. And we have our web plane, as you can see in here. So this is quite simple, straightforward, as you can see in here. So the next thing is to add an extrude. So you click extrude, and we're gonna locate the distances, and you're gonna enter the following for distances of the extrude. This for the second part, and the third part. I'm gonna check the corrections after this. We have the negative. We move to the last one, which will be so we have the separator. We have the positive. Then we have the L positive. So after doing this, let me open it very wide so you can all see together. So I know that we're entering the correct details in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 rows that will enter these details over here, and that will help us build our geometry exactly as we want it. So after doing this, I'm going to add a block. So in the settings area for the block, that's the size and the shape section, this side. In the width size, I'm gonna input this, which is the size of the width for the block as this. And the depth of the block tool will be this. And also the height of the block. I'm gonna locate the position section, and in the Y field, we should change this to this. I'm gonna build the selected. So the same procedure, we're going to add another block. So that will be the second block that we're going to add now. So I'll go to web plane, add a block, add a second block. And enter that for the width and the depth and the height, as we did earlier on for the previous one. However, for the position, it's gonna be a bit slightly different from what we did for the first one. So remember here, we just typed H underscore cell. Over here is going to be minus H. Tab. Also in the Z section too, it's going to be different. It's going to be L separator. Positive. So for the Z, it's going to be like this, as you can see. And we're going to build selected. So we have this end build, the other end builds. And we go to the form union to build everything, as you can see. Okay. So we've been able to input our parameters. We've been able to build our geometry following these steps. I'd like us to view how so I want us to add an explicit. We're going to add an explicit to this. Uh, so the label you're going to type positive positive tab. So selecting domain one only for explicit. So I want us to also have a clearer view of the layers. You know, we have some layers in between this. So I want us to have a clear view of it. So we go to camera and the view scale, we want to select it to manual and make the side 100. We update. So we're able to okay, so we're able to see the layers in our patch cell, as you can see. Okay, so now we've added our positive tab. We want to add our positive current collector to as well. This will be our positive current collector. So this side will be our positive current collector. As we've done in here. So after selecting the positive current collector, we move to add another explicit. Which is the positive electrode. That is a positive electrode. Which is domain 6. And after adding the positive electrode, we can move ahead to go add the negative. Negative tab. Positive. Okay. This is a negative tab. Okay, because this is the positive, so there's a negative. Okay, this is the positive tab. So as you can see, this is the positive tab as I indicated earlier, and negative. So it's at the opposite end, directly at the opposite end. You can see. The negative current collector. So this is the opposite of that, as you can see. And we have the negative electrode. which is domain 3. Then we move on to add the separator. Which is domain 4. And we want to add the negative tab end. It's going to be a boundary at 29. Oh. And explicit, we're going to add the opposite of the negative tab end, which is the positive tab end. It's going to be a boundary. No. Negative tab. Okay, so that's the positive tab and negative tab. As we have it in here. I'm gonna add a union. I'm gonna add a union. We'll choose a negative tab and the negative current collector. Which we're gonna name as the negative current collector. And tab. I'm gonna add another union. Which will be the opposite of what we did for the first. So that's gonna be the positive current collector and tab. And after we're going to add another union. That's the union 3. And for the union 3, we're going to choose the negative current collector. And we're going to choose the positive we're choosing the negative current collector. And we're going to choose negative current collector and tab, and the positive current collector and tab. That will be the metal foil domain. Okay. So we'll go to definitions. And we're going to add our probes. So we'll choose a global variable probe. So we're going to add our probes. We're adding a global variable probe, which is going to be in the settings window for the global. You have to define the label. So we're going to name this label as the So we're going to name this as the cell voltage. And we're going to type this for the expression. Let's type it here. So this is the expression that we're typing over here for our probe, for our cell voltage probe. And we're going to add a description. Currently it's unknown, but we're going to define it later. It's going to change later as we move on. And at the table and plot units, I'm gonna type V. Okay, so we're gonna add a general projection. Which the reason why adding is going to use it to integrate the amount of lithium around the electrode depth. The label, we're going to change it to negative. Can we just make it negative? Yeah, operator name field. Let's add a negative to it. Just negative to it. And then the source selection. Let's choose a negative electrode. Okay. So let's duplicate this. And let's change this to a positive. After duplicating, we're changing this to positive. And it will be positive. And we'll choose the positive electrode. Okay, so the next, after doing all this, we're going to add our materials. Then after adding our materials, we're going to make some other definitions. But I feel maybe at this point, I would like to end this video and continue that section in the next video. So just follow the next video. We're going to continue with this.